execute. So executing on your thoughts and executing on stuff. And I think just like starting and doing stuff, right? So to make a long story short, I graduated from Akron U. I got landed a job in corporate America at one of the biggest accounting firms in the world. I was wearing a suit every day. I was on the 27th floor. I thought I made it. I was at the bottom of the barrel. They treated me like crap. I think they didn't really understand me, and I didn't really understand myself. I think one of the key things of being a designer and a creative is really being self-aware of who you are and not listening to what nobody else is saying. I don't care if it's going against corporate. I don't care if it's going against your manager or your parents or anything like that. Your job is to be a disruptor. Your job is to be a change agent, and your job is to like trust your instincts, whether it's leaving that firm or leaving wherever you're going to really focused on you, right? So what's crazy is that they was looking down on me. They was micromanaging me. They was talking about I was always on the computer. I was really like drawn towards like coding because websites was new, and I knew that this was a platform. Like I had some other design buddies, and we was like, we gotta learn this web design stuff. It was like we was getting into code. We was getting into it was a program called Dreamweaver. They still kind of got Dreamweaver, but now we're using Wix and WordPress themes and stuff like that. But back then, we was doing it using a program called Dreamweaver, and it was like Photoshop, but you can make web pages. Then we was getting into Flash animations. I was getting into selling stuff on eBay. I was getting into so all of this stuff was kind of going against, but it wasn't no other designers. Like it wasn't even, people that was on my caliber as a designer trying to do stuff. So they didn't like how I was moving at the accounting firm. But the one thing is like, a lot of people right now it's like, you can work your day job, but make sure that at night or when you on your off time, you working on you more than you working on your job. Okay. So I'm just gonna go over a couple little bullet points because I want to kind of make this interactive as much as possible, Q&A type of stuff. So what happened was at the accounting firm that the economy tanked, and it was like the real estate bubble in 2007 2008, and I found myself out of work and I couldn't find any work. Now you have to think about it, like I was kind of jumping jobs from that, and I was making incremental jumps. I was making like 10,000 more, 10,000 more. So I'm at the top of my pinnacle as a senior designer. I'm making like $65,000 a year, right? The economy tanked. And another thing that was going on at the same time is that technology was moving so fast, they kind of commoditized design and made it into a cookie cutter, easy template situation. So anybody could learn, design and do stuff real quick with an app like Canva and stuff like that. And what that did was that made the value of a designer go down. We wasn't as unique anymore. You could just have grandma come in and fill in the same job that you're doing, and she could do, and they could just teach her the brand guidelines and templates and stuff like that. And now that making the value go down. It's like kind of took it. I mean, it's genes for the company because now they could outsource the work, and that's what they was doing. You know, we could send this out overseas and get some cheaper labor to lay out these pamphlets and lay out these brochures. So what do you do as a designer? You have to evolve, and that's just like what now. Even now, the economy is worse than it was back then. We got COVID. How do I stand out and be unique? And that's easy. Like you just got to be yourself and showcase that. So one of the main bullet points that I talk about is standing in front of your portfolio instead of behind it. What I mean by that is interjecting like your personality and having a YouTube channel and having a voice and having an opinion. If you don't have this stuff, you don't exist. If you're not creating any content, you don't exist. I should be able to see like we got software like called OBS, and OBS is like a capturing, it's a video capturing software that you can capture your screen. I should see all your classes like a time lapse of you working all senior year or all 4 years. I should see time lapses of all your work. I should see sketches. I should see pictures of you with the camera behind your head. I don't care if it's your phone. I don't care if you got to duct tape it to your chair. I don't want to hear no excuses on why I don't see you capturing any type of content at all. Like this is vital to do. Number two is like building, networking and building relationships is important too. And this is easy. You could just inbox anybody on LinkedIn. Like everybody on here should be LinkedIn crazy, Facebook crazy, Instagram crazy. I'm gonna tell you the gold nugget right now tonight is, well, not tonight, it's still noon. But the most important platform that I'm seeing right now at this point is LinkedIn, and I'm using it. I'm putting videos up. I'm putting pictures up. And LinkedIn, my content is scaling at 100%. I don't even have to pay for it, and that's crazy, right? So um, that's another vital thing. And one of the things that I'm working on currently. Oh, so I'll go back. I don't want to start rambling, but um, so I found myself out of work. I didn't know what to do. I had to evolve. I was out of work for 5 years. So think about how crazy that is. I was working 10 years in an accounting firm, making top dollar. The economy tanked, design is getting commoditized. I can't find any work. So I'm looking for low wage jobs. And I'm just sending out resumes. So back then there's a website called Monster. So I think right now we got something called Indeed and stuff like that. So I'm throwing out resumes after resumes after resumes, cover letters after cover letters, and I just couldn't find nothing. I just wanted to design, and I think that's one of the most toughest jobs is to be creative, actually, because you might not be in sync with your creative director or your art director. And, in this desperation, I'm looking for a job instead of, really finding a place that really fits me and really fits the culture, like understanding the culture of the company. And if it's really in sync with you is very important versus like, I just need a job to pay the bills. I mean, you do need that, but it's real important to understand the culture of the company and see if it really is in sync with you. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't find any work. So after 5 years, I was getting some work here and there, but it wasn't consistent enough where I could really capitalize off of the freelance stuff that I was getting. But again, I really wasn't networking all like that. I really didn't have a social media presence. I mean, social media was kind of starting out anyway. I don't think it was there yet. I ain't have a YouTube channel or none of this stuff, right? So I started volunteering at the Boys and Girls Club. I volunteered. They offered me a job. It's a huge pay cut. It's teaching kids. It's out of my comfort zone. It's like, I got to learn lesson plans. They not listening. I'm dealing with gangs. I'm dealing with drugs. The second day I was working, they stole my car. So, it's just like crazy, man. So I'm patient though. So I didn't quit when they stole my car. I walked to work. It was a couple blocks. I was able to, gather my coins and get back on my feet. And I was only there a year and I saw some consultants coming in doing specialized work. And I presented the idea like, look, man, let me teach. Because I was just teaching painting and ceramics and Starry Night and Play-Doh, clay and stuff like that. So I'm like, let me do some specialized work, teaching designs. I saw some laptops. So they went for the idea. I resigned a year later and I came and I started just going to different locations, which was dope. I wasn't sitting at the same school all day. So I'm traveling around. I'm doing stuff that I was passionate about, teaching them how to do designs. I ain't really see nobody else doing that. And one of the things I was doing, like one of the things I do, and this is important too, like you got to read a lot. Like, so you got to get heavy into as many books as possible. So Zeph Golden, anything he write is beautiful. Tim Ferriss, the 4 Hour Work Week, all this stuff is going to just raise your level, your intellect. So what I was doing was I was taking these books that I was reading, either audio or whatever. Like you just got to get them in. So one book, that another book, and the book was helping me with my psyche too, because I was a little depressed being out of work for 5 years and having a degree. I'm not gonna say it was easy, but the thing is that I want y'all to understand, like it take patience too, and to take, just stay on your path or whatever. So one of the things was that I did is I shot a video in East Cleveland of where I'm from, and the video went viral actually. So it's got like 57,000 views on it right now. At the same time, I was shooting my class, right? So I'm really just shooting my class just so I could see it, so I could see my teaching style, right? But it's showing a connection that I had with the youth too at the same time. So I was doing something called exposure weeks. And exposure weeks is just me going to a class, going to a school, like, look, I'm a designer, I'm Jay working, check me out, check out some of the stuff that I'm doing. Won't you sign up for this class and I could get y'all to point A to point B. And I'm teaching them advanced techniques on Photoshop. So this is like 9 years old. I mean, you know, I got 9-year-old middle kids in middle school in Photoshop. We designing stuff with LeBron dunking, flames coming out the ball. Like we doing all this stuff, like Nike ads, like we just going crazy, right? So I was showing some speed art, but it was like it was other artists on YouTube. I was like, it'd be more powerful if I did it, right? So all of this stuff was happening at the same time. And, you know, I started getting some news coverage, and then I just started like, and another thing that I was doing that was kind of vital to me was I was going to a lot of design conferences too. So it was uncomfortable at first. I didn't know nobody at first, but as I was going and I was, you know, building these relationships, I was really taking off with all of this stuff and all this content, you know. So that's what I've been doing for the last 4 years. And one thing that I told myself about the YouTube channel was like, I was like, I'm going to do it for 4 years and I'm not going to stop doing it. So I had already set a goal that I was going to create content for my YouTube channel, and I dropped a video Saturdays at 11 o'clock for 4 years straight, just to, you know, because I knew I knew it was going to take more than just a couple videos to really get some traction. You know, I just kind of set that goal for myself. So I would say that everybody set a goal for themselves. All right, so I ain't gonna talk too long more. So one of the things is like this is how you outwork your competition. This is how you create content. You gotta create tons. The days of resumes and bullet points is over. They're gonna go to your YouTube channel. They want to see your personality. They want to see your thoughts. They want to see all of that stuff. Like I don't have a teaching license and I'm teaching in high school, right? How do I get there? Is because of my YouTube channel. You know, people see me and they wanna hire that guy. They like my personality. So I work on my delivery. I work on, you know, stuff that I'm teaching. I'm reading as many books as possible. I'm decoding those books and giving it to the youth so they can understand. They might not know that it's some hacks from Tim Ferriss on how to build their network or whatever they're trying to do, but that's kind of what I'm doing. So um, one of the things that I've been currently working on is really working on my storytelling. So, you know, hopefully everybody's familiar with the hero with 1,000 faces. If not, please look that up. And that framework is really on telling a story. So, you know, telling your backstory. Like every story should have these frameworks. And I got a couple that I kind of jotted down. And every story should have like your backstory, and you know, which I just told you guys, the journey, the new opportunity. I just did this with y'all. The new opportunity and the frameworks of, you know, what I learned and what I used in that new opportunity and the achievements that I got. So, you know, you kind of work on that. And I do that all the time you could do that in a couple sentences. You could do that in a couple paragraphs. This is going to really, you know, because everybody got like cognitive biases and there's a bunch of different ones that people have on why they don't do stuff. So you really need to understand when we talk about the user, we really need to understand the psychology of people, because this is how you lock them into your content. This is how you lock them into your products or whatever you want to sell. Like anybody could come up with a shopping cart with some t-shirts, but how do you really convert them? You convert them with the storytelling. So you got to be transparent. And this is the thing too, like everybody got a different narrative. Like your narrative may be like, look, I'm just 19, I'm just starting out. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And that's your YouTube channel. You figuring it out because you're talking to your audience. One of the main things is, and like everybody, you can see everybody's video, we're a tribe. You want to surround a tribe around you. One of the another principles that I kind of talk about that I love is a short writing. It's only like a page, and it's called a thousand true fans. You can look that up too. So the principle behind 1,000 true fans is like it's really easy attaining to get 1,000 true fans around you. So what's a true fan? A true fan is a person who comes to all your stuff, buys all your stuff, comes to any of your events, likes all your stuff. That's like a true fan, right? And all you need is 1,000. And all you need to do is get $100 out of the year from 1,000 people. That's $100,000 a year. That's a nice salary, right? I don't care how you get the $1,000. I don't care if it's a membership site for $7 a month. I don't care if you get it through half merch, half through a product, half through something. Like the thing is this too. Like, so look that up. That's a thousand true fans. The thing is that you know, you creating this content is you creating a tribe around you, and you really expressing yourself, and you know, you bringing them into you so you can, you know, convert them, right? So um and I think you know, I guess I'll just like end it like that. Like if anybody got any questions, I could keep talking though. um but I want to open it up for questions, Q&A and stuff like that too. How long we got, in?
Was long. We've got quite a long time, so we're good.
Oh. Yeah, so um yeah, that's kind of like the blueprint of it. I think one of the things is that you're never really gonna be ready. So it's not about being fancy. You're not gonna be comfortable in front of the camera. You're not gonna like stuff that you said. You're gonna get a lot of people that's gonna ask you, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Like my mother didn't want me to show the kids on camera. She thought I was gonna get sued and all of this stuff. But you know, they kind of sign a waiver when they go to the Boys and Girls Club that, you know, it's okay to put them on video. But when she told me to take it down, I did take it down and then I put it back up. I'm like showing a connection. I'm just showing, you know, the things that I'm telling them and the things that they getting out of it too. So I think it made me more easy to create video now that we in COVID. Now I don't even, you know, have contact. I'm doing everything virtual. So one of the things that I kind of focused on, I learned a lot from Gary V too, like his content model, right? So it's something called sawdust. And sawdust is like, you know, back when you was cutting wood, sawdust you should throw it away, but now they keep the sawdust and they use it for other stuff. So I'm making micro content out of um, you know, major pillars that I had. So I may have a video that I showed maybe last year that's a 12, 15 minutes long. I might take 2 minutes of that and reshare that again on the social media, right? So um, if you look at my videos, I got an intro. I did that intro using Adobe After Effects. I didn't really have time to really do that on my own. So I just bought a template, threw some videos in there. I got a sound bite that I'm using too. So, you know, all phones got a little sound bite. So it's like an identifiable noise that I kind of make. It's just like, what in the world? Type of thing. You see my logo pop up and fly out the screen. So um I'm just doing stuff like that, man. Just trying to be creative as heck. And I think the vital thing about being a designer and the most powerful part is that we could do so many things. So you could diversify. So you don't have to kind of depend on one certain thing. You could do photography, and I'm shooting photos for people. I'm doing video. I'm teaching. So I would not rule out every person in this Zoom session to have some type of intellectual product where you're teaching and you have some type of framework, right? I just gave y'all the blueprint. The blueprint is telling the backstory, the journey, the new opportunity. And here by my framework, this framework is where I got the success from, right? So frameworks is just like some chapters in a book, right? Um, Leo Carp, what's his name? Leo, I can't say his last name, that actor.
DiCaprio,
Leo Carpinati. Was it
Di-
Caprio?
DiCaprio.
Yeah, Leo
Yeah,
DiCaprio.
DiCaprio. He was in a
Uh-huh.
movie called Catch Me If You Can, right? So Catch Me If You Can was like a movie about this guy who impersonated like different people. He impersonated a pilot. He flew planes. He impersonated like a doctor and did surgery. So FBI was chasing him, right? So FBI eventually gave him a job, but he impersonated a professor at an Ivy League school, and they had asked him, like, how did you teach an Ivy League school and you never went to one? How'd you do that? They're like, this is incredible. And he was like, that was easy. Like, all I needed to do was be a chapter ahead of everybody else. So when you think about that, all you really need to be is like a chapter ahead of it. You don't have to be a super duper master in something to sell an intellectual product. You just need to be a little bit ahead of everybody else. I see people nodding, so that's what's up. Yeah. So frameworks is like some chapters in a book, right? So if I get a book and I go through it, okay, this they got one chapter on creativity, they got another chapter on layout, they got another chapter on color, they got another chapter on typography, and I just go through that, do my little blue point, my little blue, my the highlights on that. I study that. I teach it a couple of times, and now I'm selling courses. Like everybody should sell some courses. Everybody should have some merch. Everybody should have a YouTube channel. If you type in my name, Jamal Collins, J Working, you'll see like I'm taking up like 4 or 5 pages on Google because I'm on so many other platforms. I'm on people's podcasts. So that's going to bring up more spiders for Google to search and find you, right? So whatever handle you are, whatever, when you're creating content, just be consistent all the time, right? So we could open it up for some Q&A. I see people nodding, so
I got a question.
go
I guess
ahead.
I'll start off. So I like what you said about storytelling because that's one thing I try to bring into my own work. And I just went through your YouTube page. I saw you had a video about apparel design and like starting a clothing line. And me and Francisco, he's actually in the chat now. We have a brand called the Underdogs. We've been working on it. Well, I've been working on it since freshman year. Freshman year, he came on like our sophomore year. But one thing I have a question about is like building a team because like I find that collaborative work seems to be it's one is really easy and it's fun too because you're getting different opinions, but we don't have a team yet. It's really just the two of us, doing all this stuff and you know like photography and just design and all the whole nine. So I'm trying to figure out how to build a team and like just how to get people that's equally as talented as us and also like has the same passion and drive that we do. I don't know if that's a matter of like going to conferences like you said or just finding people online, but like I'm trying to figure out like what's the best way to like build a team.
Yeah, it seemed like that. Like I kind of talked about teaching without having a teaching license, and that's like basically you bringing the market to you. So the thing is, the whole thing is like you giving out value. When you give out value, and that's kind of goes in line with the 1,000 True Fans too. So when you're giving out value, you're gonna get attention. You're gonna get people, and you could just do an ask. You could just you should be in sync with all the photographers in your area, all the designers in your area, and anybody who got podcasts, anybody who's doing any creative work, and just doing a blast and getting people and seeing who's talented and who's not, and kind of like following. You gotta just be in the game. So when you're in the game, you know who the top guys are, who's cool, who's dope, and who's not dope. And sometimes like having a team may not necessarily be like them in your company, like, but
Mhm.
I consider you being my team now. You know what I'm saying? So you hit me up and be like, Jake, can you look at this? What you think about that? Like I'm part of your team. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily like hands on all the time, like in the company calls and all that stuff, but you know, um, that's kind of you could do both, and you'll get it, you'll know work ethic when you see it. Like I know kids is kind of bull crap and kind of good versus the other ones who can really get down to really do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I got an eye for that. So I hope, did that answer your question?
Yeah, it helped a bit. Yeah.
That's always gonna be a revolving piece, man. Like I'm still kind of working on the team myself. Like so it's gonna always be like a challenging thing because to me, I'm like, let's go, let's go. Like a lot of things, like somebody's gonna have to be the leader, and somebody's gonna have to be not maybe not as you know has different work ethic. Like me, I'm like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. It's hard for me to find people that really match my energy, and sometimes when they don't match my energy, I feel some type of way about it. So that's what I had to learn. Like everybody's not gonna match Jay Working's energy all the time. So I had to kind of get that up. So a lot of relationships I kind of left behind because they wasn't keeping up. But you know, I like how you thinking. Like you can't do it no matter how much. You can't do it on your own. when you know build your team up, just see what's the most practical person for that, and then add just little by little like that. What you need somebody to do for you?
Um, as far as the design, we do ourselves, but like it would be cool to have like somebody who's like a videographer, like a photographer, and like
Okay.
also like somebody who's specifically skilled in like illustration. I know a lot
Okay.
of clothing designers, especially t-shirts, is like illustrations. So it would be cool to have somebody like that.
Yeah, that sound like more like you outsourcing, right? So you just got a
Mhm.
couple illustrators that can you do this, how much it's gonna cost, and maybe find a local person who could do some video for you, follow you around. A lot of those videos that you see me doing, bro, I'm doing those all myself. Like I'm moving the camera around, I'm shooting that B-roll all by myself. Like if I feel like I'm about to say something, I point the camera to me, and I hit those levels, and then as they work, and I'm kind of moving the camera. Sometimes I got it running, I forgot to move it. It's been in the same position, pointing at the wall. But it's just like the work you got to do. Like another thing, like a lot of photos that I'm using, like I'm going on photo shoots, I'm shooting them myself. So I got the phone hooked. I got my phone hooked up to my Canon. You got the Canon app. I could get it in position. I put the timer on there. Like I don't always have somebody with me to shoot and do it. So don't let that be an excuse because you don't got a videographer not to shoot no video.
Mhm.
He could shoot you, you could shoot him, you could sit it on the timer. Like you just got to get it. And just talk about the process too. Like the thing about creating content is the backstory, bro. It's like, man, I remember that brand. I remember when they was figuring it out. Now it's blowing up. I'm a fan that whole way. I'm along the journey, right? I always talk about Spider-Man, but you just didn't see Spider-Man just swinging around and fighting crime. You got to know about the uncle. You got to know about the radioactive spider. All that stuff is just as important as everything else. So talk about that too, man. Put your camera pointed at you and talk about what's going on.
Thank you. That helps. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And hit me up too.
Okay.
Yeah. This part of it, man. This is a tribe, man. This is how this works.
I had a question.
Yeah.
I knew she did.
So, oh, I'm sorry.
I said I knew you did. And I was waiting for it.
Oh, okay. So, you mentioned earlier about striking a balance between personal work and like actual work from like your job. How do you um, strike a balance between those things? And what do you prioritize in terms of doing work for your job or for an employer versus doing things that gratify you as an artist?
That's gonna always be tricky. You know what I'm saying? The beautiful thing is that you got to be patient. That's number one. Number two is that you're young. And number three is that and being young means that it's okay to be all over the place. Like I'm 50, right? My butt still be all over the place. Like I'm doing video. Now I want to get into animations. Now I want to get into so I'll be swayed all over the place too. So that's okay to be like that. The thing is like you got to trust how you feel. Like I might just feel like doing a photo shoot just out of nowhere. Like I got to do it. You know what I'm saying? So that balance is just gonna come. Like you're gonna be like, if work is not really fulfilling to you, then after work you want to do this grind or something else. I think that's because the thing is like it's not putting all your egg baskets into one thing. Like it's no job that's unsafe from being clipped right now with COVID anyway. So you need to invest in as many things as possible. This is like one of the most important keys to anything to being a wealthy person is to having some type of product that you're getting paid for when you don't have to trade your time for money. That's it. Because if you have to trade your time for money, it's never going to be enough hours. I don't care if you're getting $100 an hour. It's not going to be enough hours. You're going to only work 8 hours a day, maybe 10, right? So when you're getting some type of pay for some type of product, right? And every artist, every designer in here should be getting paid for some stock photography they doing, some video class that they teaching, like some type of product. So you just got to put in those extra hours. Like let's just say I got a young designer, right? She work at Panera Bread. She can't even look at her phone. She can't even listen to no audiobooks. So it's dang, like at least if you working at a desk job, you got one and you're doing something where you can listen. You got one earphone in your ear and you listening to Think and Grow Rich. So this is all part of, remember I talked about the audio book. So this is all part of like growing and getting your knowledge and raising the level of your intellect as you're working. And then when you get off, you got the energy, right? So sometimes I feel kind of like I don't feel like creating. I feel kind of down. I don't feel like doing nothing because I'm human. I can go to my YouTube page and I got so many videos. I could look at that and I was like, damn, I was doing all of that stuff. It really gets me pumped up to do some more
Yeah.
stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like you kind of building that library up. Let's just say you didn't even want to share it yet. I think everybody on here should have a podcast. And just hit me up like, Jay, I'm starting a podcast. Let me get you on the first one. And we just doing a Zoom, like this is recording. So we doing a Zoom podcast. Let me ask you a couple questions and then post it. Like next week, I got designer Jay working. He talks about youth. He talks about creating content. He talks about this, that, and other, boom, boom. This way, what's is so dope about the podcast, then you put it on Spotify. Remember, I talked about the sawdust. So
Yeah.
you could take that audio off of that video, and now you got the same repurposing that. You making little short clips, like check us out next week. I got Jay working. You put that little video clip on Facebook or whatever, Instagram next week. And then I'm gonna share that. So guess what you just did? I'm taking all my network and all my people and I'm bringing them over to you so they can hear the podcast. So you really just, kind of moderate me and just asking me something. I come on there with my beard being cool. I want to share that. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's all the stuff you got to do. So, you got to work on your podcast. You got to work on your YouTube channel. You got to work on your speed art. You got to sell this. Like you own the podcast video with your shirt with the link down at the bottom. Like, yeah, this is the smart. To people for the news. So this is how I'm getting on the news. This is how I'm getting in the paper. I'm getting in these spots because I'm in the spot, right? So
Right.
this is how I'm doing it. Then I'm pumping it up too. So I hand somebody my phone like, can you take a picture? Then I just did it yesterday. I just did it on my Instagram, right? So
Mhm.
I was in a national publication called The Guardian 4 years ago, and they wanted to get my perspective on Trump and East Cleveland and all that stuff. So he wanted to talk again. And we was at Panera Bread. I asked somebody at the table. I was like, can you take a picture? And then I pumped it up on Instagram. So I may be a little extra on putting it, yeah, how you put yeast in bread and it rises. I may put a little yeast on my stuff.
Mhm.
I may be a little, boastful about stuff, but it works. It works. I mean, look at who we have as a president. So putting yeast on stuff and him being president just shows that it works. No matter how crazy, lunatic, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It works. So just be authentic with yourself. I saw somebody else about to say something.
I had a couple questions. Um, well, you touched a little bit on like working and like being depressed. Like, how was that like trying to push yourself to do work for yourself, but like not lose yourself in your work, if that makes sense?
Yeah, it do make a lot of sense, right? So, um, one of the things was I came across a book and it's called Cybernetics, right? So Cybernetics is really talking about like we have in ourselves success mechanisms and we have failure mechanisms. So the author, his name is Dr. Maxwell Maltz, right? And he was a plastic surgeon. He was just giving examples of how he was doing plastic surgery for people and they were still still was kind of leaning towards their failure mechanisms and stuff like that. So a lot of those principles kind of opened me up. So after that, I started looking at different books that was more related to that, like more on the mindset. So that's why I said talking about the book. So like the technical aspect of here's the pen tool and all of that stuff, but the most important thing to work on is like your psyche and your mental and how that works. You got to understand how your brain works and the stuff that you think about and the stuff that you don't think about. You know what I'm saying? Like you can dwell on the past. Like remember I talked about looking at those videos and like I was like, dang, I was working. Like that's just kind of confirming that I was on the right path, right? So when you shoot a missile at a target, right, it's got a rudder on the back of it, right? And it's going back and forth, right? The reason why it's going back and forth is correcting its mistakes to get to the target. It just don't get straight to the target. So that's kind of like how you go too, right? So you got a rudder going back and forth. So you just kind of learning from your mistakes as you're going and not really dwelling on the past or dwelling on any past relationships. Like everything has a reason for itself, but you need to really understand that. And you get that from the books, right? You get that from, following the right people. Like as soon as you look up Mark's World Malts, you can look it up on YouTube. You'll see other authors that's kind of related to it, Think and Grow Rich. You'll see people like Gary V, Ty Lopez. Like just make sure that you get all of these mentors. You get the thing is like you might not like you can't be around me all the time. Like I got you pumped right now, but after this, Zoom call, you might go back into the state that you was at. So you make sure that these books, these videos of these people that's on that path is the mentors around you all the time. Let's just say the jobs suck and you got to go and you got to do it. Like I said, one earphone, you got Gary V in your ear and he's talking about creating content. He's talking about adding value. He's talking about all of this stuff. So you have to just keep reading and keep getting these books, and that's going to build your self-esteem. That's going to build you as a person. Like, because it's a so you just laser focus. When you laser focus, you're not a drifter. So you got a drifter and a non-drifter, right? So a drifter is a person that just drifts. So whatever he gets, whatever comes to him, he just takes it, right? He doesn't really diet. He really doesn't exercise. He drinks a lot of alcohol. Like he has a lot of bad environment. So your environment, like you have to be very intentional on who your environment is. You gotta be very intentional on being healthy and not smoking cigarettes and exercising and keep, like all of this stuff goes into sync with everything else. It makes sense. So it's like a whole full package of you coming in. Like I haven't had a drink and haven't smoked in 19 years. You know what I'm saying? It just makes me more of a powerful person because I got discipline and I can show that, right? It makes me stand out too. So, the thing is like everybody has a fingerprint, right? And everybody's fingerprint is different. So everybody is unique and everybody is a genius too. So you have to understand that your mind, the power of your mind is almost like a computer. It's better than a computer. The thing is about Einstein was a genius, but he wasn't a genius all the time. Like he would get lost when he would come home. Like he couldn't find his house sometimes. So we had the same brain as Einstein. You just got to work on it, right? You got to take your notes. You got to write your journal, like all of this process, understand what you dwelling on and thinking about that's bothering you and separating yourself from different people. Like all of that stuff. You like working on that all the time. You exercise, you eating healthy, you getting up early. Like these is the principles and like you gotta sacrifice if you want to be super successful. Like what time do Jeff Bezos get up? What time do Elon Musk, what is he reading? What is he like? You got to look that up. Whatever Elon Musk is reading, you need to be reading that. Whatever time he getting up, you need to get up. Like, and I don't care what the naysayers say or the haters or whatever. Like, this is the attributes that you have, and this is how you stand up.
That, yes. I think when you brought up the environment, that kind of struck me a little bit, but yeah, that definitely helps a lot. I had another question kind of regarding when you talked about doing different things and kind of having more than one, I guess, more than one income, I guess you could say, or having more than one thing that you do or passionate about.
Yeah.
How did you kind of go about not getting like stuck or I guess lost within trying to find which thing to do at like a certain point? Like,
You just
I don't
kind
know if
of
that
do.
makes sense.
Well, yeah, it do make sense. You just kind of do. You just kind of do them all. Like I may not be. You might have a person that could just focus and do one thing. I'm not built like that. Like I'm kind of. I got ADHD. Like I'm all over the place. I feel like so. I think it doesn't like you don't know. I just like learning. So once let's just say you master Photoshop, you got that master. Now what? Need to master Illustrator. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm master Illustrator. Let me take some photos. And then you're looking at your camera like, damn, it's got a video button on it. So now you do a little video and now you look and it's like, oh damn, this is more than just video. This is storytelling. This is scenes. This is shots. This is like L cuts, J cuts. Let me get into filmmaking. So next thing you want to, spruce up your videos and now somebody calling you. So the thing is, like, I never really said, like I got a job teaching at the junior college, Photoshop and video based off my Instagram, which is crazy. Like, I ain't apply for the job. So you make the market come to you. Like, if you're interested in this stuff, it's just, I think it's all vital because it's necessary. Like, you should be shooting a video. You should be telling your story. You should be doing cool, like, transition into telling your story to make it interesting. Like, so, and now you adding more artillery to your arsenal because now you untouchable. Now I'm teaching. Now I'm doing code. Now, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, a designer. Like, if I just did designs, I would be SOL right now because it's COVID. So these things, like, remember I talked about this stuff that you're doing, selling framework somewhere. So it's like I learned all of this stuff. Now here's my storytelling, my video storytelling framework for $2.99. You're gonna get this, you're gonna get that. I'm gonna do one-on-one Zoom message. Like you see those little ads and stuff, right? I'm hopefully everybody here is on LinkedIn, Linda, LinkedIn, and getting those classes and those courses and stuff, right? You could look at the outline of the classes and kind of frame up your own. I don't care if it's in beauty. I don't care if it's in hair. I don't care if it's cooking. I don't care what it is. You could be designing, video, cooking, or whatever. It's gonna be a service that you're gonna sell, right? So I think everybody in here is multi-dimensional anyway. So it's okay to go from here to here to there. Like first I was just doing the graphics, right? And then I was like, damn, websites came out. And then I wanted to get into web design. So then I was getting into that. Then I kind of felt like I mastered that. Then I was like, damn, they got something called animations. So it was still not veering too far off, right? So everybody on here should know what a landing page is, right? So you got a landing page. The thing is, like, you should set your website up with 4 different landing as instead of just like an about me page and a contact page. You should have 4 landing pages, and those 4 landing pages should be different services that you want people to hire you for. So I click on one page, it's got your photography on there and how you feel about it, and a little, right up on that stuff. Then you got another page with video, or here's a keynote page. Here's my podcast page. Here's this page. Here's that page. Like, because the jobs is not, like I told you before, like they're going to pull you up and see what you're doing and your philosophies, your personality. So smile and be charming, be intelligent, be, strong Black woman that you are, and show your talents, be vulnerable, be transparent, and, crush them. Hit me up too.
Thank you.
Everybody send me an email, a DM, call me, whatever. We can get to it. Next.
I have a question. My question is, I've listened to everything that you said, and I heard you talk about the job you had for 10 years, I believe. And
Yeah.
then you said you were out of a job for 5 years and you got involved with the kids and all that. But my question is, well, I have a few questions. What was the biggest challenge you had in creating and developing your own brand?
The biggest challenge in creating my own brand, I think, that's a good question. I think the biggest challenge was me just kind of sitting through actually being mistreated in corporate. Really, honestly, that was the most challenge because I wanted to quit a couple times. I was being micromanaged. I was being I, I flunked the second grade, right? And I had a terrible time in high school. Like I took a lot of penitentiary chances, I'll say that. So I always had a problem with authority over me. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things was the biggest thing that I realized now was like trust yourself and don't care what nobody says or what nobody thinks, man. That's the most important thing. Like the same managers that was like looking down on me, give me kudos now. But what's crazy about it is that I'm the same guy. I'm the same. I was Jay working all the time. They just was doubting me, or they just didn't like it, or whatever. So, I think the challenge is trusting yourself. Remember, I talked about being a genius. Remember, I talked about your uniqueness and talking about that, sharing that light. So yeah, it's just tough. It's just tough being an African American in a predominantly white market anyway. So plus I ain't have no designers. I ain't have nobody like me to call. So the reason why I'm doing what I do is because I ain't have nobody like me to ask me and coach me through. It would have been better. Like my mother and them didn't go to college. So I'm the first college graduate in my family. So I don't have no connections. You know what I'm saying? I don't have nobody to call and emails and all of this stuff, man. That's why I'm telling y'all to hit me up. I ain't had that, man. And I needed that, like to even like the thing is like if I would have had it my way back then, I would have never quit. Like the corporate kicked me out. Like I had to evolve. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have like so it was I don't want to complain about it. Like it was just the silver lining was I was glad it happened. I had to evolve, I had to change and pivot a whole bunch of times. Like I knew designers who just kind of learned a little bit, but then they stopped designing or they stopped like it really wasn't in them. It really wasn't in them. Like you could tell when it's in you. When it's in you, you're gonna create. You're gonna create. You're gonna make a stand for yourself. You're gonna change. Like the thing is, like, I don't think people realize how powerful you are. Like you should really make a change and disrupt what it is and have that confidence that you could do it. You had another question?
Yes. How long did it take you to develop?
I,
Huh?
I've been doing this my whole life, which is funny. Like I remember being a little dude and I had a character, his name was Catman, and my mother would draw his eyes for me because I couldn't do them. And I was getting into drawing like and graffiti came out. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm an 80s, like I'm a 70s baby, but in 84 I was 14. So Run DMC was new. Graffiti and all this stuff was coming out. So I was always drawing and stuff. The thing was that is like I ain't had nobody in high school coming to really recruit me. It was like, let's get these creative guys over here and let's get them doing something. So I'm a active young black male. That's why I said I took penitentiary chances because we ain't had no outlets. I ain't even have, we ain't even had no play. We had playgrounds, but as I was getting older, we ain't really have a lot of extracurricular stuff. So there wasn't no design programs or nothing. I just got lucky. My man went to OU and I went down to visit it and then I started getting my stuff together. You know what I'm saying? So I jumped into design and I just saw what it was and I fell in love with Photoshop. So it's been, you know, taking that time. Like it just take time. You know, to be a master in something, it just take time and be patient. Like you could get the gist of anything in 20 hours, right? So 20 hours you could learn anything 20 hours. The thing is like a lot of stuff that I teach, I kind of break it down into real simple couple, you know, easy steps to getting into something. Like I could get into Photoshop right now and probably show you 5 easy steps how to create something without getting into all the tools that's in there. You know what I'm saying? And once you learn that, you know, because you got YouTube and stuff like that too. So the thing is, like, you got your conscious, and you got your subconscious, right? So when whatever you looking at, whatever you looking at on all the time or listening to, that's kind of going in your subconscious, right? So if I'm looking at Photoshop videos all day long, it's going in my subconscious. You know what I'm saying? If I'm looking at bull crap all day long, World Star and videos with Gucci, you know what I'm saying? Like crazy stuff all day long, and I'm listening to music all day long, that's going in my subconscious. I'm not going to be as powerful. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to raise your intellect up, you got to put all this stuff in your subconscious as much as possible. So design, business, marketing. When you working, you should have a TV running in the background with Gary Vee talking the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Go into your community and find out other people that's connect with other people that's doing stuff like you, like-minded people. Connect with them. Hit them up. Like, I love what you're doing. Tell me what you're doing. Just like this conversation that we have. I had this all the time. If I see somebody that I like that's dope and if they crushing it, I hit them up. Like, look, I'm Jay. I want to talk to you. Give me that secret sauce on how you doing stuff. You know what I'm saying? I know a girl who was she was shooting for a lot of celebrities, but the way that she got to shooting with a lot of celebrities is that she hit up a local DJ that was here. LeBron James DJ, his name is DJ Steph Floss. She hit him up and was like, "Can I come and shoot for you for free?" He was like, "Yeah." She went to the club, shot for him. Guess what he did? He hit her up to come back. Next time she got paid. Next thing I know, I see her taking pictures of Nipsey Hussle and all this stuff. So this is the game is to do this unselfish gratitude, free work. It takes a lot of free stuff. So Gary Vee got a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. What's the jab? The jab, you know, when you punching, you setting up the right hook. The right hook is your power punch. That's the ass. That's asking for something. But the jab is all the free stuff. So I ain't getting paid for this. This is all love. Right?
And we love you for doing it.
I know, Ann. You know, it's all love with me and Ann. I mean, Ann could tell you how we met, but yeah, so.
Yep. And I've been following him ever since. And
Absolutely.
every time he, you know, even if I don't have time to look at all of it, I still give him some love because
Thank
that's
you.
what it's all about, you know.
Absolutely.
And I keep telling you guys that you need someone to look up to that looks like you know, and I don't, you know, I'm going to be one of your biggest supporters no matter where you go or what you do. But I've told you before, I haven't lived that life. So I try to find as many people as I can to have someone to look up to, someone that's been through it. You know, there's been a lot of talk here lately about, you know, they don't even know we exist as a university with a graphic design department as an HBCU. So that's what we got to do. We got to get that out there too. And the way to do that is to get you guys out there working and putting your name out there and being successful, which yeah, this is a good group of people. This good group of people right here.
I see. I need
They're
some more
really good,
questions.
and they need to get some more questions in there too. Yeah.
I still have like one more question, but it's a three parts.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, during the time that you were developing your brand,
Mhm.
what did it cost you financially, mentally, and physically? What was the cost?
The cost was free. Like the YouTube channel was free, right? Mentally, I work a lot, right? So sometimes I have to take breaks. You know what I'm saying? Like I work around the clock. Like I don't watch a lot of TV. Um, so I kind of work consistently around the clock. I might be doing something late night, right? So when you look at the YouTube channel, all that work I did, YouTube wasn't paying me. You know what I'm saying? Right now, to monetize your YouTube channel, you gotta have 1,000 subscribers. I ain't had that. And you gotta have a X amount of number of hours along with this 1,000 subscribers to monetize that content, right? So, the cost of entry for that was free. Physically, it was a little demanding because I'm working like 7 different locations, right? So I'm going to all these locations all the time. I'm kind of working on my curriculum. A lot of kids not listening. I'm not like, y'all have to understand, like they're not getting graded to be in my program, right? This is not and a lot of kids kind of are in the mode where they don't operate on their own. They're being told what to do so much, so they don't know what to do outside of once they're not being told what to do, right? So it's like being in school, it's like being in an assembly line, right? You're going through these different levels, and then you got the bill is telling you to go to the next station or whatever. So to get them to come in and do some work can be challenging at times, right? So I was okay with them not really doing my lesson plans all the time, because if I gave them a little gold nugget in being responsible at home, not staying out of gangs, stuff like that, then I was okay with that. Like, so everybody not gonna make it, and I understand that. So I connect with the ones who want to connect with. I'm okay with that too, even if it's 1 out of 20, so it's a lot of levels to a lot of stuff that I don't know. So that answer your question? Next.
Can I kind of like branch off of that question?
Absolutely.
So I know that you mentioned that as new artists, consistency is important. Can you just talk a little bit more about like why is consistency in terms of building a brand as a new artist important in establishing, I guess, our identities?
What's the last part?
I said, why is it important, and how does it work to establish our identity, whether in our community or online?
Yeah, I think that consistency is like really letting people know that you're around and that you're there. Like I've been working for almost 10 years. Like that was my handle back in the day. So if you're changing your handle or changing your business all the time, then people can't really find you. So being consistent too, like I see a lot of people starting stuff. Like I see a lot of people starting a YouTube channel and they only got like 5 videos and then they give up. So that consistency, let's just say you started a podcast, nobody's gonna listen to the podcast. Let's just get that out there. You know what I'm saying? You starting a podcast, episode 1, nobody's gonna listen to it. And then a lot of people look and be like, damn, I done did 10 episodes, ain't nobody listen to it, and I ain't gonna do it. Like, tell me right now, like, let's just take Breaking Bad, right? Breaking Bad probably don't jump off really till season 2. Like nobody watched season 1. They watched season 2 first, and then they went back to season 1, right? So that's what's gonna happen with you with the podcast. Like the first fall season of podcasting, ain't nobody gonna listen. I don't care if you did have me on there, right? Then the second season, you're getting better. Like if you look at my videos too, they better. Like the first videos, they sucked. Like, I kind of just had like a camera in the background. The camera wasn't pointing at me. The audio sucked. I wasn't mic'd up. I really wasn't telling a story. But then as I was doing them, I got better. Like my eye for video got better, right? So the way I cut my shots, the way, like I'm using a technique called a J cut or an L cut. So what a J cut or L cut is, if people not familiar, is you can hear sounds from the next scene before the scene come. So it's a way to transition to the next scene, right? So I'm talking right here, you can hear a basketball bouncing a little bit because I'm gonna go to the next scene, or you could do it the other way around. So these techniques were stuff that I was learning later as I'm looking into filmmaking, because I'm like, well, this is, even though this is just a vlog, it's cinematography, right? I need to show a video sequence. I need to know, okay, what's B-roll? What's established shot? What's a, so I'm learning it. That makes sense. I'm like kind of rambling. So the consistency is going to help you grow. The consistency is going to let your followers and your tribe be connected with you the whole time too. So if you say I'm posting Saturday at 11 o'clock, they know at 11 o'clock Saturday, you're going to post.
Right.
Right. So this is the thing that I said a while ago when I first started. If you're not saying nothing and posting, you don't exist. You don't exist. You don't get no impressions. They're not seeing you. The thing is too, this is a key thing too. So is document or create. So sometimes I understand, even with me, I can't create all the time. So you document, right? You can have something called like a motivation Mondays. So every Monday you could schedule this stuff out too. Like I could sit for an hour and do a couple videos and cut them up and put them on a schedule to post like 5 in a row. So now it's not as overwhelming because I done sat and did a bunch of videos and cut them up, and now I got like a month worth, right? So I don't have to create all the time. So if you can't create, then just document the process, right? So after a while, like Gary V does, he got like one of his main pillars is the Ask Gary V show, right? He may take a little 1 minute highlight out of there that was really dope and reshare that again. Or, you could take the audio from that and make that be a podcast too, right? So if you look at my YouTube channel now, like I done did like 6 videos, that's all old content. I took the highlights out of some dope videos from 2017. I'm like, oh, I remember this. Oh, this piece was dope. You haven't seen it. Like you just heard Ann say she's been busy. She can't catch everything. So you don't know who's going to see what, but you just got to build up that content. That's where the consistency come from. So now in COVID, I'm not even going to classes, but I got so much content that I'm still relevant because I'm sharing old stuff. Got it?
Yes, thank you.
Next. Anybody else?
Orlando, did you want to say something? You're
My
muted.
bad, I was muted. Yeah, I just realized that. Mr. Collins,
Yo.
when do you find time to just either work on yourself or just do your own personal work? Because for me, I find throughout this routine of me planning and over planning what I have scheduled throughout the days, uh, most of my days are taken up, even if I gotta, do my work in the morning or late at night. I sit back and I'm like, damn, well, I didn't get no sketching done on my time to, fix up my tattoo
Yeah.
designs and stuff.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah,
Sometimes I might go, without doing something. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta do it, man. I should just see a video of you time lapsing, like boom, boom, boom. You gotta think about the final product at the end. You know what I'm saying? It's like what you want to be known for, and what you want to be doing. Is you want to be doing that now. You know what I'm saying? You don't feel abundance when you get it. You feel the abundance of it right now, right?
yeah,
So to
yes, sir.
feel that, what would it feel like to do this all the time? And this is what I want to be known for. So this is what I'm doing now. So when somebody do call you and say, look, I saw your stuff. I know a guy that's getting paid $7,000 for logos, right? I interviewed him. He my man. He from Columbus, right? Um,
Yes, sir.
he he's just getting paid for his style, right? So you got to showcase this stuff. Like you got to find some time to do it. You might not do it all the time, right? But you at least should be running a video saying, damn, I ain't feel like doing it. I'm having these problems. I'm having these issues. Like everybody in here can identify with that, right? So you're building a network around you. You're documenting your process, like I'm trying to figure this out. This is where I'm at now. This is the level. It's like a behind the scenes what Orlando and what's going on with him as a designer. Here's the problems I'm having. Here's the success I'm having. Today I'm doing this. Today I'm doing. It's like you documenting it. I don't care if you just get a phone and point it at you and just get the audio. It's like a diary. Everybody got to think about this too. Like y'all still young. Eventually y'all gonna have families. You gonna have kids and all of this stuff. You're documenting this legacy for them, so they could tap in and see their father or their mother and how they thought and how they was as young designers. It's like a diary. It's a diary of you, and that makes sense, bro.
Yes, sir, it do.
Yeah,
It really do.
that's what you really want to do, and that's your final goal is to be an illustrator at that level. You have to think about that, and you'll feel the abundance of it. It's like trying to feel the abundance of something before you get it. It's like feeling love before you have somebody to love you. Makes sense?
Yes, sir. I've heard that before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jovan.
All right. This is not like truly a question, but I kind of just wanted to like kind of provide and like add a little insight. I think understanding and establishing your purpose as to why you're doing art is very important too, because kind of like hopping off of what Kiara had said, a lot of artists I personally know like get burnt out because they don't know why they're doing it for. Like sometimes like, you know, going back to the YouTube channel, some people do it because they want the validation, they want the numbers, they're thinking about sponsorships, they're thinking about getting paid. And that shouldn't always be your first priority when it comes to content creation. Like, you know, you should always think about why you're doing it. Like for me, why I do music is because I like telling my stories. I like telling people that, hey, this is who I am. This is the person that I want to like you. And I think documentation also, what you had said earlier, is very important as well too. Knowing yourself, building that brand, and you know, connecting with people within your communities, which inspires them to want to do a YouTube channel or inspires them to make music or do graphic design or wherever they may be. So I think understanding your purpose and being in the right mind frame to create content is very important as well too, because when artists just when YouTubers want to get into YouTubing, they just make like 5 or 6 videos and then just like call it quits. Like you haven't been through those nights where you had to like, you should do it because you love doing it. You should be invested. You should watch videos and try to like understand the art of it so you can get better. And then when you get better, more audiences will come around, and more sponsorships, and a lot of people will start reaching out to you, and your brand will build in time. So I don't know. I just wanted to just provide, I think just understanding your purpose, why you're doing it, is also very important as well too. Because I think people get the wrong idea of why they want to do art, and it kind of ends up biting them later in the future. So
Absolutely. You're absolutely spot on with that. I appreciate that. Add me or hit me up and let me listen to your stuff. Like, I need some beats all the time. So
yeah, for sure, man.
Hopefully you ain't too high, but yeah. I got a cousin, like, it's a funny story. Like my cousin graduated from we had junior college, but what's dope about the junior college is that they got an engineering program, right? And he's a engineer. He has a degree in engineering, producing beats and stuff. He's dope too. So I had presented the idea with him, like you should put your beats on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? You eventually monetize them, you know what I mean? But he just don't want to share his stuff, and I don't understand why. But I do understand why, but I don't think he understood what I was trying to say too. So I felt like he should, throw his beats online. So
I have another question.
Yo, keep on coming.
Okay. Jovan, really good question. So my question is, I know that as artists, especially young artists, we can get, I guess, self-conscious or not knowing the value of our work. Mm-hmm. How do we as artists build confidence, and within that confidence become more business savvy in terms of, getting paid for our time and our craft? And then also within that, how do we go after the jobs that we want as artists?
I kind of touched on it a little bit about the confidence. All you need to do remember what I said is just be one chapter ahead of everybody else. Right. So that's it. Like you got it. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just a battle all the time as being creatives, is because we always critiquing our work. We always kind of analyzing, we looking at the details. Like I look at, having an eye for design means like you heavy into detail, right? The details, right? So we can have that look at ourselves too, and be like too too hard on ourselves sometimes. Like
Mhm.
sometimes I put up stuff all the time I don't like. You know what I'm saying? And I get a good response. So I was like, damn, my head was cut off. You couldn't. The fan was blowing in the background. It sucked. But you just put it out. You just put it out anyway. You know what I'm saying? I think one of the things is don't be fancy. Like sometimes being too fancy stop us from doing something. Like I need the Mark V, and I need, you know what I'm saying? I need a professional key light, and I'm looking at key lights now, right? So it's like I got this little light right here. This is a LED light, right? Um, this is a aperture MC, right? I could change the colors on it. I could change the lights on it. Like I needed another light source for doing my videos. Like it's got a magnet on the back of it. Like this is a diffuser on here.
Mhm.
Like you could charge it. Like this thing, like it's dope, right? So I got that right. Now I need a key light. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I really need a key light, but that's just how we are as like creatives and stuff. It's like I got microphones, now I need another lens. Like the rabbit hole just never stops with
Mhm.
stuff. So it's okay to feel that way. We all feel like that. Did I answer? I kind of go off on a
Yes,
tangent.
definitely.
So it's always going to be, I think everything kind of leads to everything else. When I talked
Mhm.
about Cybernetics, I talked about your mindset. I talked about like you're going to get the energy from these books and having the right mentors. And if you can't get them
Right.
that you talk to, right, you're going to get this whole mindset thing. All of this is mindset. Forget the tools, forget the products and all of this stuff. All of this stuff is just is mindset, right? So
Mhm.
when you come off as confident, like, look, here's the design principles that I figured. Because this is the thing, like for us, this is key right here, I think, is that our job is to change and disrupt everything, right? So we're looking at right now as a designer, what is this school missing out that I don't like, right?
Mhm.
As COVID working remotely, what is the companies missing out? Here's the blueprint and here's the framework that I designed, that I developed to solve these problems. Like I'm trying to figure
Right.
that out now, me personally, right? I got students that they logging in and they're not engaged because I'm teaching online. So they've been in school all day. So the last thing they want to do is sit and watch me on the screen. So now I'm trying to figure out, well, how can I fix this? Right.
Mhm.
So this is the stuff that you kind of like when you're looking up people like Jeff Bezos and stuff, you're trying to get the secret sauce from them on how he figured it out. This is an overall thing that you're gonna be doing your whole life is finding mentors, finding people to inspire you, getting the little gold nuggets from them that you like, and moving on from that, right? So the thing is, the three things is powerful, right? Is video, is writing, and it's audio. So if you got all three, you're really gonna dominate. So the audio is a
Mhm.
podcast, right? The video is you online. That's more just right in your face. It's really getting your personality. You smiling, you being silly, you being serious, like you really being creative with that, right? So you studying other people to do that. Like, what? How long is this video? How is this transitions? Like I have videos that I look at, I slow them down so I can see the transition and how like I rewound it and looked at it a couple times. Right. I'll call my man up like, you gotta look at this video. What did he do? Because I got a guy, he's heavy into Adobe After Effects. So he knows it better than me. So I call him and we'll jump on a call. I'm like, what did he do? He's like, oh, that's just he's using Photoshop and he's cutting and pasting that, adding that as a time block. So we kind of decode that and getting that energy. So remember, I talked about environment. Just keep some designers around you. Keep some big brains around you all the time. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Let me jump in before somebody asks the question. I wanted to ask. Well, one thing I wanted to say is, especially with brands, brands that I'm drawn to, like brands that I actually follow, they always seem to like show they have a sense of self, but they always show like, you know, their inspiration. Their inspiration is really evident in their work. Like you can see what they pull from, and like just the stuff that they enjoy, like in their personal time. Supreme's a good one, like just for clothing. Like Supreme always pulls from like hip hop culture and like skate culture. And I follow another clothing brand called Butter. They always like pull like musical reference like from jazz musicians and stuff. And that's one thing I'm trying to work with, like just showing my personal interest within my brand. So I guess my question for you is like, what personal, like if you do that, what personal inspiration, like personal interest do you pull from in your brand, and like how do you show it, like when you know showcase your work?
The thing is, like, I'll go back to the importance of reading and stuff. Like, whatever current book I'm reading, I'm taking notes on that. That's like in the forefront of my mind, right? So I'm pulling on those. I'm pulling on that inspiration from that, right? And then I'll move on to like something else. So it's a book called The One Thing. And this is a good book because people asking me about the one thing, right? So it's kind of touching on the one thing. And this kind of goes into like Orlando's question too. So one of the highlights from the one thing is what one thing can I do today that's going to get me closer to where I'm trying to go or trying to do? What one thing can I do this week? What one thing can I do in 6 months to get me closer? Which one thing, right? So, and now I got those, and then I got notes, right? So I'm collecting the notes on the one thing. I'm collecting the notes on This Is Marketing by Zeph Golden. It's one book that I would highly recommend everybody in here, and that's called The Linchpin by Zeph Golden too. So the linchpin is really how to stand out and how to be indispensable, right? So standing out and being indispensable is being unique and being one of a kind. So it's probably some other Black graphic designers, but it's not Jay working, right? So remember I talked about standing in front of the portfolio and people want you, right? Versus somebody else, right? So I'm grabbing these principles and then I'm taking notes on them too, right? So then I got a collection of notes that I can go back and forth from and see. Like I got notes, they all over the place. I got some digital I got an iMac. So, you got the notes app in the iMac. So I got notes in there. I got notes on. So I can go back through Cybernetics. I got like a list of audio books. Like I got tons of them. So I'm listening to them and then I'm looking for new stuff. So I'm hungry for it, right? Like, all right, I got that. I need something else. Like it kind of gets addictive to you because it's really opening up your world. You at the house, like to get a book. Like I got a book that's so everybody should be familiar with Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, right? That's like his top book. But he has an audio book on YouTube called Talking to the Devil, which is crazy because the audio book, he's like having a conversation. So the way it's written is beautiful. He's going back and forth, and the voice of the devil is a little bit deeper. So it seems like he's talking to the devil, and he's kind of talking about something that I talked about earlier, talking about a drifter and what a non-drifter is versus a drifter. So it's like the devil was really like his subconscious, right? So like I the stuff that, like I was saying, like the stuff that I'm into or the stuff that I like, you're just gonna absorb that all the time. So that's kind of how you get. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it answered it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're just gonna be in that mode studying the brands. Like, I saw something called Bobby Hundreds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Bobby Hundreds. He was over in China looking at fabric. I was like, damn, like he's taking it to
I
like
saw
when
it
you,
too.
yeah, when you in it, like you got to be all the way in. It's gonna show. Like I'm looking at fabric, man. I'm getting you know, a sewing machine and knowing how to sew a little bit. Like I'm getting down into the industry. I'm gonna call Bobby Hundreds. I'm gonna hit him up. I'm gonna fly the cat. Like I don't really want to. I don't really want a vacation. Really, you know what I'm saying? I ain't never been to Cali. I would love to go, but if I go to Cali, I want to meet Bobby Hundreds. Like I want to have a conversation. Like, look, Bobby, this, that, and the other. Like, so one of the things that was beautiful for me is I was going to design conferences, and then I was speaking at the design conferences. So now I'm on panels with the top designers in the game. So they telling me about pricing. Now I can hit them up. So now my network has gotten that much bigger. So you might not get hit back from somebody at Supreme, but you might. Who's a dude who's designing for Supreme? Hit him up. Like, can I ask you some questions? I'm a student in school. Like, this is the stuff this is the stuff you need to do. Like, can I come and have coffee with you? I don't care if it is in New York. You know what I'm saying? You get your butt on the bus, you get your butt on the plane, you're going to have coffee with the guy. You know what I'm saying? And set up a couple other meetings in New York, right? So this is going to separate you from it. Like how many, like you call it, because the thing is, this was so dope about LinkedIn is that you can type in the companies and see who the designers is, who the hiring managers is, and everything. Call him up and say, like, you know, I'm a student. What would make you hire me as a designer? He gonna say, I want to see 10,000 sketches on your behance.net. So now you know you got to show the work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what it takes. It takes, okay, so here's another book. I'm throwing a lot of them out on you. Grant Gordon got a book called 10X, right? It's the 10X rule. Grant Gordon is like a serial real estate person. He on YouTube too. So the 10X rule is basically, if you want 10X the success, then you got to put 10X the activity behind it. It's energy. Like I got a fireplace back there. It ain't lit. It ain't no fire back there. Like I got to get wood. I got to get some lighter fluid. I got to get some matches. I got to go and cut the wood. There's energy, right? So if you want to 10X what you're doing, you got to do 10X the energy. You got to do 10X the effort towards it. So if it may be another little guy who's trying to get at Supreme too, you got to outwork him even more. You're a Black designer. So if he got 1,000, you got to have 10,000. You want to get at Nike, like you got to have sketches, concept, like you got to have them, like this whole wall should be filled up with sketches all the way down. Like you and your man got the clothing line and like illustrations, you should have thousands of illustrations. Let's get this one, let's get that one. Like this is the work, like you got to be a mastermind, like a mad scientist with this stuff if you want it.
Yeah, that helps. Thank you.
Yeah, it helps me too, man. I pump myself up.
I have a question, Jamal.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is an opportunity for them? This time is a major opportunity for designers and young designers and Black designers to actually, raise up their visibility a little more, and especially these guys, because we are all remote and everything is going remote. What advice would you have other than just putting themselves on social media and LinkedIn? Is there anything else?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to lean a little bit more on being a linchpin, right? So, a linchpin is a little pin in the wagon. On the wagon, it helps it attaches the wheel to the wagon, right? If you take that pin out, the wagon will fall apart. So that's being indispensable. And how do you be indispensable? Is being you and being a voice and being a disruptor, right? Um, uh, to make a change, like I said before, if you don't have a voice, then you don't exist. So everybody has some type of something that they feel strongly about. And I think our thing as whether you like it or not, being a designer is being an activist, is being a change agent, is being into the social movement. It just may be visual, but we just as powerful as everybody else. Like I had a conversation with somebody from the Guardian. He wanted to talk about Trump. He wanted to talk about the city of East Cleveland and all this stuff. I really didn't want to talk about that because I'm a designer. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm focusing on education and the principles and stuff but you know, I'm in this space. I got a responsibility. I have a voice, so I have to talk about this stuff sometimes. But you know, stuff that you feel real strongly about, you should talk about that stuff. So that's like, you know, we got a lot of issues, and designers are the people that's gonna change that stuff. Like, how do we recycle better? How do we get better sleep? How do we get eat less meat? Like a designer is gonna have a solution for that. Like UX and UI is strong right now. You're getting paid a lot of money to develop apps and stuff and understanding empathy and how to, you know, empathy mapping, design thinking, all of this stuff, social intelligence, like really getting into the behavior stuff. Like I'm almost like a psychologist kind of, because I got to figure out like, okay, I showed him the pen tool, but why he isn't creating anything? You know, he's got resistance, right? So um we got resistance in us. Resistance is stopping us from doing something. um Brian Tracy got a book called Eat the Frog, or Eat the Frog First, and he's kind of stopping, you know, she's kind of talking about being proactive and doing stuff. So your productivity, you know, because you could pull up different stuff on, like it's this one guy, I can't think of his name, on YouTube. He's got study techniques, which is crazy. I'm like, man, if I would have had this in college, I would have crushed it. Like apps you could use to help your productivity. Like you got reminders, like you got a super phone, you got a supercomputer in your pocket. Like to you can have reminders telling you to, you know, you got audiobooks in your ear so you don't have to read no more. You could Google how to do stuff, learn stuff in 5 minutes. I can talk and it'll type for me. It's no excuse why people shouldn't be crushing it. Like all y'all should have be working on a book. Remember I talked about the three powerful things. If you do all three, you're gonna crush them. If you work on your writing and you can be able to write, because on Medium right now you can monetize your articles. Everybody should be on Medium. It's a huge network on there. You should be giving so much value, like value, 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 value. That's what's going to stand you out, is value, right? So my thing is education and teaching and design and marketing. I could look up right now on Google, I could type in top 10 marketing tips in 2020, and I can read that, and then I'll give you the same thing. Here's the top 10 marketing tips and this, that, and other. So, you know, I can find content all day long, read it and get my spin on it and then write about it. Boom. You know what I'm saying? And talk about it too. Like after a while, you get into this, you know, it's like your second nature. It's like your muscle memory, right? So I can just spit different books, different authors and different stuff. Y'all writing it down, y'all looking it up. So, you know, this is how you should be too. Like you should have, you know, doing that. Any questions about anybody else who haven't said anything? Don't be shy.
Um, we've taken up over an hour and a half of his time, so you know we might want to wrap it up here a little bit so that we
Okay,
can let
all
him
right.
let him get back to his work.
I appreciate it. Everybody, one last question. We could do that. One last question for somebody who haven't said anything. We got Judy that want to say something.
Anybody else? Kiara, Caitlin, Bria,
I always got questions. I got a
Vanessa?
You
list.
know what? Let's end it off on like a good note. Like, what are some words of advice or some words of wisdom that you have for us? You know what I'm saying? Young Black artists growing up in this world right now, going through COVID and everything, trying to just make a name for ourselves.
Just tell your story, bro. Just tell your story. That's it, right? So remember, this is the science of look up a hero with 1,000 faces and understand that framework and just tell your story. So what's your backstory? Talk about your journey, the journey that you on right now. You working on your new opportunity and what you're trying to do to make a change and do that with yourself and network and hit people up. get inspiration from people, whoever you see crushing it and doing it right now, that's who you should be hitting up. Like I told my man, he should know who the people are at Supreme, at Nike, at Adidas, who is the hiring people, who is the designers, following them, hitting them up, asking them 1,000 questions, and getting the secret science. Because this is the thing, it's just a hack, bro. Somebody done figured it out. Ain't no sense of trying to reinvent the wheel. All you're gonna do is just get the hack and hack the secrets. Like, how do you get into a company? Well, that's easy. You just putting out a lot of content. You letting the market come to you instead of saying, hey, hire me. Here's my resume. You saying, hey, look, check out. I got a year's worth of YouTube videos. I was shooting a YouTube video every day of me sketching every single day. Remember, we 10x in our effort, and we're gonna get 10x the result, right? So if you ain't been drawing at all, you need to do 10 times that, like every day, if that's what you want to do, if you want to get to that, right?
Yes, sir.
Everybody hit me up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, all of that stuff. You can email me. You could get the contact from Ann. You could DM me, follow me on Instagram. I ain't really following nobody, but I'm on there at JWorking. And, it's a pleasure. Like, we all one big family, and I'm available for more insight, more, talk. I could do a one-on-one Zoom with everybody in here if you want to. So I'm here to connect with people, and I could tell you about my network, the people I'm in too, right? So add me on LinkedIn at Jamal Collins. Look at my network. Look at how I post on my LinkedIn. Like, look at my storytelling. Like, I'm working on it. I ain't perfect at it. I'm working on it too. So look at my storytelling. I'm using pictures. I'm using video. Look at my YouTube channel. Look at the videos I'm posting. Look at my titles. Look at how I'm shooting, and that's it. That's the game.
Well, thank you, Jamal. Thank you for everything you do, what you're doing with the youngsters in Cleveland, and what you're doing for these young people right here. Because this is
this is dope. I
this is
appreciate
a
it.
great group of young artists here, and yeah, there's some really good talent. So Tyrus and all of y'all who've been talking, you need to hit him up, show him some of your stuff. Okay?
For sure. Yeah, show me your stuff too. Like, I'll jump on a one-on-one Zoom call with everybody in here. You know what I'm saying?
Where
Like,
your availability time?
just the work you got to do.
Just email him. He'll let you know when he's available.
Yeah,
So,
this the thing. Like, you got a bunch of young designers underneath y'all, right? They 9 and 10. They're gonna hit you up too. So you're gonna learn this from me. Like, you're gonna be telling them to hit you up one-on-one and give them the science, right?
Yeah. We keep telling them that they could be doing what we're doing too. They just need to, put themselves into this position, and they could all be teachers and sharing, and
absolutely.
That's what we need more of.
If you need me to kind of touch on some authors and some books and some YouTube channels, a list of like my go-tos and stuff like that, just send me an email and I'll send you that. Like, I got a lot of digital books and stuff like that too.
Yeah, so I wrote down a lot of ones that I have not read, but I assign them a book every semester.
Oh, okay.
Just finished managing your daily
managing your day-to-day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, but they've read quite a few books, Essentialism and How to Say No, and Start with Why. So I try to get them involved in reading more, because it is important. So
yeah, absolutely. That's gonna separate you. It's definitely gonna separate you. All right, gang. I appreciate you.
Your time. Thanks.
For sure.
Send you love.
I see this is recorded. Can I look at this? Can I?
Absolutely. I'll send it to you.
Okay. Am I cool to share this on my YouTube channel?
Is everybody okay with him sharing it?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry in advance.
So you see how I do it. Like, I got some value.
Hold on, let me
tag me.
Put my Instagram on my handle.
All right, if you got a YouTube channel or something, tag me in and hit me up. Just everybody hit me up. And I'll connect with everybody one-on-one. All right.
Send him back the love he just gave us. Okay.
Can we get the contact information in the chat?
Yeah, I'll give you that information. I think it's a easy. Just go to jworking.com and
Yeah,
everything has got a connection. I think I had it in the chat.
Yeah, Jworking, JAYWORKING. You can find me everywhere. Go to my YouTube, check me out or whatever. All right.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right, y'all.
everybody.
Thanks a lot again, Jamal. I
Bye-bye.
really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Peace.
everybody for coming.
For sure.
Bye, guys.